Welcome to the Keep On Keepin On podcast, episode 2. Justin has something we want to talk about. We're going to address something a little bit different here, but something that's very important. So, Justin, take this.
What's going on, guys? Episode 2. Yeah, man. We talked probably like an hour before this, which is so funny. I love it. But we just had the camera recording. Yeah, right. Sometimes I'm like, should we just start right now? Like, I literally think about that. And, we were talking about sometimes when we don't sleep enough, like you're talking about that hot yoga story, right? Where you slept maybe like an hour and a half or so. And you have to do hot yoga, which yoga's amazing. Recommend it. 100%.
Super recommend. I hadn't done it since middle school. And, we addressed this, but it was brutal. It was very brutal. And doing it on an hour and a half of sleep and then to go do hot yoga and then schedule was pretty packed. So like I definitely felt the effects of, not being, not getting the right amount of sleep. And I know you talked about like you deal with something similar. And I was just telling you how I can't do low sleep days back to back. And, even though I can try to or, put in the most effort, but I'll feel it in some way. And I know you have a similar experience.
The way your body feels when you don't sleep, you know what I mean? Your body just literally feels exhausted. Like you just feel like this weight. You don't feel healthy, or I don't know how to. You feel like
100%.
If you're dying almost. And I hate that feeling.
You need 8 hours of sleep?
I try to think about it. I try to wonder like how much sleep. When do I feel my best? Because there's times I can oversleep. Because they say that's not good either. If you oversleep. Because if I let myself, I can sleep 10, 11 hours. And I'm like, fuck, like, why am I? That's
Where's
too
the
much.
day going?
So I feel like that 8 to 9 hour range for me feels good. Where I'm like, okay,
I feel that.
But the thing is, I never let my body get to that consistency. Because that's all it is. You have to be consistent about it. Matthew Walker, who I told you about, he did Why We Sleep and Dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great book. And he was on the Joe Rogan podcast as well. It's a great podcast. And I've been reading that book, which I highly recommend. It's really good. But also on the podcast with Joe Rogan, he was explaining how important sleep is, right? I mean, it helps decrease the chances of dementia, any mental health stuff like that. And it's so healthy for your brain. We live in a
generation where like everybody's always promoting go, go, go. And nobody's really promoting rest as much.
Sleep when you die.
Sleep when you die type. And I don't think that's the right way. I mean, I feel like we have all of these resources available to us to really make the most out of like our health. And sleep is an important part of that. And if we don't take advantage of it, we may not see the higher end of the numbers in terms of age. And, tomorrow's never promised.
Or how you age.
Or how you age.
When you
100%.
start hitting older,
100%.
What if your brain starts, you
start having some brain issues.
Dementia or all that.
I gotta be way
Alzheimer's
better at that.
as well. Alzheimer's. They say that all that stuff is just from your brain. Like you have to
not giving your brain the proper rest and recovery.
It has to like detox almost. It's and
because imagine we're using our brain almost all the time. If we're not doing something actively, we're thinking, or it's always in use.
And when we sleep, it's like that brain dump. And it processes like your memory and information. That's how we remember stuff. So if you're not sleeping enough, your memories kind of like fade in. It kind of makes sense how it leads to that point of memory loss and all these other like harsh stuff.
I need to be like personally, I need to be way better at sleeping because I can 4 to 6 hours for me is optimal. And I'm a super late sleeper, and I've recently, like over the last few years, learned to enjoy getting up early. And by enjoyment, I don't mean like I'm jumping out of the bed. It's more of a like I'd rather be up early than let the day kind of slip by. And it's always, and it's very important to also understand this. It's not like when you wake up, it's what you do while you're awake. But at the same time, like if I let the day go by. And I know that I can get a lot of work done, in the second half of the day or whatever, still doesn't feel right to me. So I think more importantly, it's like me creating a better sleep schedule for myself.
But yeah, I agree. Like a consistent sleep schedule, that's something that's one of the main things I've been trying to tackle for a while.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Because when I'm up, that's what's weird with me. When I'm up, I'm moving. Like I'll get so many things done. I'll get what I have to, It's not the issue of like motivating myself to get things done. It's getting up. And I know how good it feels when you're up and you have it done already. You know, when I'm up and getting up is the worst part, right? But when you're actually up and you finish that workout in the morning, that feeling you get afterwards, driving home, and it's still early in the morning, and you got that done,
and you got the rest of your day ahead of you.
It's an amazing feeling, and it's weird because I'm aware of that. Yeah, but it's just still
very hard to wake up.
Mind wants to comfort and like manipulate you so much when you're tired. Yeah, you know, when you wake up in the morning. Yeah,
turn the snooze off.
Yeah, like, oh, you're just tired. Just work out later. It'll give you all the possible excuses to not want to get up. Yeah. And it'll start negotiating
with yourself when you've already set something up for yourself. Like, I need to go do this. But your mind's like, maybe it can wait.
Yeah, or maybe just cancel.
Just cancel. Yeah, just cancel.
Just cancel. But when you get it done, it's done. You feel good. You're up. And then you're like,
probably
let's
thank
get
yourself
everything.
for it. And then, you move forward and you're hitting other things when you set that first.
Yeah, and I try to remind myself of that. Like, just remember how good it feels when you get it done early. Yeah. But, man, your body...
That's actually what I was going to ask you. Like, do you have any hacks to make sure you get up when you don't feel like getting up? Something you use to talk yourself out of it? Or do you sometimes cave? Everybody sometimes caves, right? Like, I guess that's a bad question. But, like, how often do you... know how to like channel that, like, yo, I gotta get up, or what's like
that? I struggle with it a lot, especially since I'm up late, work later or whatever. But the certain tricks that have helped me before, but then again, with my brain in the morning, I'll just find any reason. You'll literally get up, get your phone, snooze it, sit back down, go back to bed.
I've gotten to a point where I'll do it mid sleep and I wouldn't even know.
That happens to me too.
Like I've snoozed so many alarms and still been asleep.
My favorite thing, and this is not even a hack, this is just like luck, is when I have to pee in the morning. Oh yeah. I love it because it's like, okay, I'm up. I
by
have
force.
To. Yeah. So then I go pee. I was like, all right, I'm up. Once you're on your feet, it's like, okay, like I'm up. And sometimes still I'll be like, no,
I gotta get back in bed.
Right back. That's so true. The only other thing probably I would say that has helped me before, but I've been struggling with this a lot, which is getting up in the morning, would be when I set my alarm on the phone, just set the phone so far away that you have to like physically try and get it. Yeah. And that kind of, you forces you to wake up. Because if I have it right next to me,
of course,
I'm just like done. Boom. And without even thinking about it, and I'm back to sleep.
There's a lot of hacks I read up on, but I just, when you're sleeping or you're about to go to sleep, your phone's right there. You plug it in the charger.
So many things.
And not using your phone 30 minutes to an hour before you go to sleep. That's what that's what a lot of people promote, but like I haven't done that. Yeah. It's a challenge to the blue lights.
The blue lights.
And you can have blue light glasses and all that, but I don't think there's anything better than just, 30 minutes away from your phone to go to sleep.
I think like reading usually before bed.
But I can't preach on that because I need to be better at that myself.
Yeah, literally. It's like things that we know. Yeah. It's just
we consciously understand it, but we don't, practically put it to use.
Yeah, we struggle with it. We struggle with
100%.
Like with my when, having the phone right next to me, it's just snooze. Yeah. Or, damn, I was going to say another point about that. Like, because it's just something that I try to tackle. Yeah.
Like, have you heard of the Rocks app? Where you set an alarm and there's no snooze button.
Yes.
So it'll just keep ringing.
I used to have that app, but they don't. Is that still in the App Store?
I have no idea.
I haven't seen it on the App Store. I tried downloading it again. And
really?
It's not there. But that was a great app. It was like all this different like music that he did, and it was like his voice waking you up. Yeah. No snooze button.
It's all about power.
Yeah. Yeah. And I use that for Ben. It's honestly really awesome that he did that because, you look at those guys. You look at The Rock or... those kind of people in the world. That's,
I think it's just years of just putting discipline together.
That's discipline, man. That's a level of discipline now.
Because, I'm sure, I know probably for a fact those guys do not get 8 hours of sleep. Like, there's no way. Like, for somebody like The Rock who wakes up before his scheduled time to work out at like 4 or whatever the crazy numbers.
He's working at
Mark
night
Wahlberg
sometimes.
does 4. I think Mark Wahlberg, he said that he gets like 7 to 8 though, because I think he's like, I'm in
early.
bed at 9.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's insane. At 9 o'clock, I'm on break at work. Like, I'm eating my dinner.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I usually have late dinners at 9.
It's crazy. But
that's insane.
Mark Wahlberg, he has that discipline of, this is my schedule. He's
gotten also to the point, right? Like, I'm sure he didn't start his career out that way. He wasn't, like 4 a.m. I got to do this. As he's grown older and he's matured.
A little bit more freedom too, probably, with where he's at.
And also, like, his ability to set his own schedule. Now people can accommodate him rather than him trying to. Mm-hmm. This is the time I have to be on set because, I'm a new incoming actor. I need to prove myself. Yeah, you versus you're already proven and, your work speaks for itself.
Exactly.
So, but I think given that knowledge, if we can somehow start to incorporate some of these things from these people, it helps.
And you can
beat the decades, Dude. What somebody's learned took 10 years to learn. You can learn it in, just by hearing their story and learn it in a day or start putting it into action in a week. And
any like big successful person, right? Yeah. Like a Jeff Bezos or I saw a masterclass with Bob Iger, who was just the
masterclass is amazing, by the way. It's a hack. It's literally
Bob Iger, Jeff Bezos, a lot of these just successful people, you look at what their routine is like and they tell you the same thing. Like, they're up early.
Yep.
They try to get a morning workout, whatever it may be. They try to have a moment they're just having that morning to themselves before the hecticness of the day.
I agree. I think a solid morning routine is important.
So important.
And I've started incorporating it a lot more. Like, wake up, ideally not be on your phone. I'm on my phone the minute I'm up. Mm-hmm. But like, I give myself that, time to like, okay, I got to get up. Then you make your bed. Next thing is, do your bathroom, brush, whatever. But then you sit down, I meditate. I'll do that, and then I'll write down, like, I'll journal what I meditated on. Usually it's very simple. It's not like a classic meditation of where you're just sitting and, no thoughts. Mm-hmm. More, it's more like, and I stole this from Tony Robbins. He calls it priming. Mm-hmm. It's 3 minutes of like gratitude.
Oh, yes.
3 things you're grateful for. Let the moment come to you. Feel the moment. And then 3 moments of like sending healing energy to yourself and to others, people that you love. And then the last 3 minutes are things you see as done. So that could be like things you need to get done during the day or life goals or things you see accomplished in 6 to 12 months. But you got to like put yourself there as it's already accomplished.
Interesting.
So
I like that. And it's 3 minutes each?
3 minutes each. And it'll overflow. Like, let's say you really sit on like the gratitude aspect or the energy aspect or, what you want to accomplish. So it can go anywhere from like 10 to 15 minutes. It just depends how you're feeling or how much time you have. And after that, I'll write down the 3 things I was grateful for. Sometimes I'll even forget. Like, it'll like, because you go through that process and you forget so I'll write down something new or something else I'm grateful for. And it's very easy when you do these types of things to like get caught in like, I'm grateful for family or my friends or my life. But you got to like really feel the emotions. Why are you grateful for, your mom? What's the reason like she provides this for me? Or, if I lost her tomorrow, what that would feel like putting yourself in those places of gratitude.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be that severe for most of us. Some of you guys that are watching this, like, you're seeing this with your eyes. Mm-hmm. May not be the perfect vision, may not be 20/20, but you're still like, at least you have your eyesight. Imagine having gone a certain amount of time of years of seeing the world and then all of a sudden you lose it. Like, how many stories are there of people that just woke up and they were blind and they didn't know what was the reason, So to appreciate or find value in the little things that we just take for granted every single day, we don't even think about,
It's true.
So appreciating that. So I'll write that down. Then I'll write down the 3 things I want to accomplish, and then I'll make like a little to-do list, and then that will be like what I need to get done today, and what's important today, action items, things like that. You may not hit all of those, but you at least set it in your mind that this is what you have to tackle, and then you go through your day and you do that.
Yeah, just the fact that you have some like a goal for the day. You're not
now. Usually it depends. Like when my workouts are set up, my workout may come before this whole process. Mm-hmm. So like I'll get up, get dressed, go work out, come back, do this process, get on with my day. And I think setting a morning routine is very, very important because it'll set the tone for your day. It'll set the
same pattern for any like successful person, right? Like they're up, they have that moment to themselves. Yeah, it's like a little morning workout.
Yep.
And it's not like an intense workout.
Sometimes for some people it's just moving their body.
And then, you know, having that moment to themselves. And it's just having your own form of meditation, whatever it may be. So for some people, it's just having that morning workout. Yeah. Like I know with Bob Iger, he said he just likes to have, you know, go in his, I think it was like his garage or something, his workout room. Workout space, and just early, like at 5 something in the morning.
Think about it. For most people, it's like if you just start moving your body, you feel a lot better. A lot of people just not working out at all. It's just moving your body.
Have you heard of the? I think it's like the 5-minute rule or 5 minutes, 5-minute habits or something like that.
It's a book though, right?
Yeah, he wrote a book on it. Yeah. He was on oh man, what's his name? What's his name is slipping me now. No, I gotta find it now. He's Impact Theory, the Impact Theory guy. Tom Bayou or Bayou? Tom Bayou. Yeah. Yes.
Tom Bayou.
Yes. Yeah. I watch him too. His
podcast is amazing.
And he was on Impact Theory. And he was saying how starting off, we set the bar too high for ourselves, our expectation. Okay, I want to work out. And I'm guilty of doing this, to be honest, but I want to work out twice a day. You know, X amount of days a week, whatever. Why not just start one workout a day? Yeah. Or, you know, I want to work out an hour a day every day. Yeah. Maybe if you feel you haven't done that, let's do 30 minutes. And his theory is 5 minutes. Yeah. Okay. Do it for 5 minutes. It's so easy you can't break it. Right? Like 5 minutes of working out every day, 5 minutes of journaling, 5 minutes of meditation. And you can't, because your brain is like, it's literally 5 minutes. Yeah. You have no excuse. And once you do that, and he was saying that the results from that for people even working out just 5 minutes when they woke up in the morning were huge. Yeah. They were actually like, you see a difference in their body and all these things, mental health. And it's insane what you can see. Yeah. So it's just applying like with those morning routines. And that's what I'm trying to do. You know, I like 100%. Learning from these people and seeing how they do it. Cause you know, you wake up in the morning and it just sets the intention for the whole day. You know, when I wake up late sometimes. You start off on a good foot. Such a good foot. If you do the things that you know you want to do in the morning, you'll automatically have a much more positive outlook no matter what's going on in life. And a lot of times people are like, I don't have the time. Or you got to somehow make the time too. Mm-hmm. You know, it's an hour, maybe less of sleep that you might need to put that. I feel like everybody's got time for something. You know what I mean? Like your time is it's just not a priority. And like you said, people overcomplicate things. Mm-hmm. So they're like, I got to go to the gym, or they sign up for the gym, and then they make these stories in their head like, I got to get in my car, I got to get dressed, I got to do all these things to get to, instead of chunking it into, I got to go do that. And like you said, for 5 minutes, I have to actually move my body for 5 minutes. Some people don't move at all. They don't. That's wild to me. And that'll change not only the way you feel, but the health of your body also, if you just focus on moving yourself. When I don't work out for, let's say, a couple days or something, I just feel so like another person. Yeah. And it's just your thoughts will get the best of you. At least for myself, I feel I relate to you in that way, because that's what happens to me. If I'm not working out, if I'm not, it's like a detox when you do. And you can tackle your whatever you're going through that day better. Yeah. You're in a better mood. You're just it's so many different. It's like a hack. It's a cheat. It is. And it makes you feel confident too. And the minute you start, I forgot whose reel I saw, but it was like, if you can look at yourself, you know, as your body and be super proud of your body, that's ultimate confidence. Because like, if you have, you know, no Rolex, no Ferrari, no girlfriend, nothing will substitute the way you feel about yourself if you're in prime optimal shape. Like he said that, and I was like, wow, that's interesting. You know, that's an interesting concept, because it's like, why wouldn't you have ultimate confidence knowing that you're like, you're good. You worked really hard. That's the idea of like, it's a reward. That's all it is. A good body is just a reward for discipline. Yeah. It's like you were disciplined for a certain amount of time over an extended period of time, and you saw the results for that. Because naturally, if you're working out a lot, it's not only like, it's not like, okay, I'm in peak physical shape, but it's also that just helps your mind so much. Like you're literally just like when I work out, dude, I feel like I'm detoxing. Yeah. I can be in a really really upset, or I had a stressful day or whatever, and I'll go to a workout. And sometimes mid-workout, this happens to me at the gym. Mid-workout, I'm like, man, I feel so much better. You start really thinking about like life, and you're like, things
or
are
your
good.
problems don't seem as bad.
Yeah, you're like, that's not so
like,
bad.
your situation, whatever question you might have or whatever.
Everything just seems so much. It's like
or even if it is big, you'd be like, I'll tackle it. I'll find a way. I'll figure out a way. I'll make the way.
Of optimism, you know, as opposed to just like, oh my God, what's happening? You feel overwhelmed. And there's times I feel like overwhelmed a lot.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot of people do. A lot of people listening. I mean, that's like a very core emotion that sometimes people feel when things aren't going their way, but when you start to move your body or you set I think when you start to do the things you say you're gonna do, it builds ultimate confidence.
And that's what I was gonna say about you writing that to-do list, because it gives you that feeling of accomplishment. You know, where
it's as simple as what we talked about in the last podcast, which is making your bed.
Making a bed.
It just starts your day. You've hit task 1. Now you can build on.
It's insane how you know. If I wake up late, right? There's times I wake up 12, 1 o'clock. I was up late, whatever. I'm up, and sometimes it takes me a while to get out of bed because I start off already not motivated. I'm like, I woke up late. Look at the day.
Day's gone.
The day's gone. It's all over, whatever.
No,
but when I get up and I make that bed, I'm like,
let's do something else.
Let me put my clothes away, or let me put my laundry in.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, let me just be dressed for the gym already. So I'm dressed for the gym. Now I'm like, all right, the gym is in 2 hours. Let me go do some homework. Let me journal real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. The next thing you know, I got that done.
Boom.
Oh, I still got some extra time. Let me clean.
Yeah.
Then I clean. Then it's like, all right, time for the gym. Yeah. Then when I get back from the gym, I feel even better. And I'm like, oh man. And then I
all of a sudden, a great day. It just becomes a great day.
And the only thing I get upset about was, if I was up early, I would have had more time to accomplish more things. That's what I feel good. I feel great. I'm like, damn, I was able to get this done in
short amount of period of time. Yeah.
What if I was up earlier? How much more could I? And then, but it's not in the sense of like
more. But it's like I
not
think
being
sometimes,
upset, but just kind of like, damn, I could have.
I think sometimes we take credit away from ourselves too, because like at least for us that sleep late, it's usually when we're in those late hours, it's more creative than it is destructive.
Yes,
like either it's sometimes
that's a good point.
Sometimes it's you put in the most work or you get the most creative at that time, and I honestly believe it's not the time you wake up, but what you get done in the time that you're awake. Yeah. And even if that is what your
cycle is,
even if that is that 12 a.m. to 3 a.m. process for some people, but I like, at least for myself, and I think I speak for you also, is like there's a different feeling when you do wake up early. Even though
you're so ahead of the game.
So ahead, like it's a different feeling when you're up. And like somebody else might not be up, or you're the first one awake. I think there's like just your ability to have that moment to yourself.
You're ahead of the game.
Not be bombarded by. Because think about it. When you wake up at 12 or 1 or 10, there's already people that have hit you up for something, emailed you for something.
Everybody's up.
Somebody's looking for something, especially as we grow and we start to move into the business world or whatever world, and there's other demands and responsibilities of you. I think when you wake up earlier to have that time to yourself and nobody else.
Nobody's bothering
you. I think it's important for you to like strategize. Okay, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? How can I move? And for some people, I mean, it might really be that 12 to 3 a.m. period where they're like, I'm just going to strategize at this time,
That's a good point.
And it works for them. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. And I think in success culture, we've been taught like be up at 4, or be up at 5, or, But I think like for a lot of people, for most people, it's not always the same thing.
That's a good point. That's a really good point, because it's true. We kind of try to discredit ourselves a lot, right? Like, and I do it to myself.
I do it to myself too, so I get it.
And because there's literally like I'll be up till 2, 3 in the morning, and then I can't wake up early, and I'm like, I can't. I got to really work on that, whatever. But then it's true that when I think about it, it's like, wait, but I was up till 2, 3 in the morning editing that podcast, or
I was getting work done.
What I mean? Or writing that script, or editing that short film for school. And then when you think about it in that way, it's like, oh wait, but
I got stuff done.
Yeah.
It wasn't destructive, and then there are some people who are spending that time destructively,
right? Yeah.
But it's all about finding what works for you and not being too upset about yourself or upset on yourself. Yeah,
because that's interesting. Because
I think that's the biggest thing, like with people, even what this podcast is kind of about. It's more so us beating ourselves up than it is the world beating ourselves up or our failures or whatever. It's more the doubts, the anxiety, the frustrations that come in
just from what your mindset
from
is.
Your mind is.
You want to tell yourself no or find an excuse for anything. Like you want to start something. And it's like, I mean, for example, a podcast. Let's say, it's like I want to, and I get this a lot. I see a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people. Or hear just things, and it's like people will be like, oh, let's say for example, I want to start a podcast. Oh, all right, you should do it. Oh, but I don't know, man. I don't have money for I don't have equipment. I don't know how to do that and they're already kind of like going down this rabbit hole of like why excuses. They can't. Yeah,
and excuses. And it all like, what are most excuses? They're resources. I don't have the time, the money, the people. But it's never a lack of resources, always a lack of resourcefulness. Yeah. You could like, there's people who haven't had money. And that's why when people say it takes money to make money, but it doesn't always take your money to make money. And if there's people that have had no money that have found money to build whatever they've wanted to build, whether that be through investors, whether that be through, a loan, whether that be some way, shape, or form. If it really means a lot to you, you find a way.
Or even just people want to hit that home run so quick. And it's like sometimes, man, it's just $1 at a time. Or
but what happens is if the people that play the quick game aren't really in love with what they're looking for, like that. Like a lot of people that are like, I don't want to start the podcast or, this and that. They probably don't love podcasting as much as they think they do. They'd rather value the things that it might bring them, which would be the attention of the viewers or the listeners or, whether that be for YouTube or, whatever realm. Yeah. You're like, if you're not motivated, like for somebody like you who's motivated to do it, it's because you love it, Yeah. Something that you find a lot of joy in. And so I think a lot of people also make those excuses because they haven't made it a priority or it's not a priority or they're in it for the wrong reasons.
Or it's also, I feel like, it's maybe a lack of confidence or just perspective. Like, people want things so quick. Like what you were saying about, investing, right? It takes money to make money, but sometimes, man, and it's happened to me. I got into investing maybe like a year ago. Yeah. And when I started investing, I didn't even have a job. Yeah. And all I did was just make little videos for like $20-$30 on the side. And all I did was from that $20-$30, I'll put $5. I started with like an Acorns account. Super simple. Yeah. Super simple. Like you just put a little bit that was my first start. Okay.
It almost goes into your 5-minute rule. The thing, it's the same thing. It's the same concept.
Okay, $5. Yeah. And if I make a little bit more, okay, if I make less, $2.
$2, yeah.
And you'd be so surprised in a year where that goes into.
Oh, of course.
You know what I mean? And then
it accumulates, bro. They say like compound effect, Warren Buffett says this is the biggest, it's the 8th wonder of the world. Like that's what he said. He said compound effect is amazing because like we like to think we grow in a linear way. Like it's like this or, it's like one at a time. Mm-hmm. Like we got to tackle this first and then this first and then this. But like if you think back to when we were kids, it wasn't just like, okay, he's going to learn how to walk first. Once he tackles walking, we'll work on talking. Yeah. Or we'll work on, it was exponential. It was like, and then for some reason, as we grow older, we start to think it's like linear. Mm-hmm. But in reality, if you put in the work, it'll be like you don't see the results. You don't see the results. You don't see the results. And then boom. Everything, like you can grow exponentially just by compound effect. Like if you $5 in, that accumulates to,
or
whatever
like the podcast.
Exactly.
Or like the podcast example, like one episode at a time, get better each episode. And that's all.
Bro, so
that
true.
Experience is compounding each episode. True. I mean, if you were to look at our first video podcast that we would, for the cruising. Yeah. Well, the first video that it wasn't even working properly to where it is now. Yeah. Does it still have work? Yes. But man, when you see that.
The growth.
And it's just little by little. And it's the same thing, with investing or it's just little by little.
With everything, man.
Everything.
Because a lot of people, they talk themselves out of just starting. And it's like, just start. You don't need the equipment. You don't need
It's not going to be perfect right away.
It's never going to be
people
perfect.
Want it to be perfect right away. And
that, bro, how many people that that have literally everything that you could possibly have and they still make crappy quality content? Mm-hmm. Not because of maybe their heart's not in it or whatever the reason, or maybe they're still growing. Like, it's just you can't have everything done. The only way it makes sense is if you start with what you got.
And just
that could be like a big studio, or that could just be, like a garage setup.
Yeah.
Start with that. And then before you know it, as years, episodes, moments combine, all of a sudden you're in a completely different space.
It's crazy because it's true. Like, people really will talk themselves out of it before they even start. And they're like, yeah, no, maybe not. And they'll just forget.
It's that thing, right? Like, doubt kills more dreams than failure ever has.
It's so true, man. It's so true. And it's as simple as just starting. Yeah. And and
not being discouraged.
Yeah.
Because your first video is not going to get 1 million views.
And your probably going to be really crappy.
Get 1 million views.
And it's probably going to be really crappy. Yeah. And I experience it all the time because between the podcast realm that, we started here, and I was able to start, a few years ago, but then also with filmmaking, writing and filming a movie. That is the scariest thing. Like, that happens to me all the time. I talk myself out of doing it all the time. And then when I feel the best is when I just tell myself, no, you just do it.
Just do it.
And whatever happens, happens. Like, worst case scenario, you don't show it to anybody.
It's like we talked about right before we started the podcast with your last short film. Mm-hmm. You were like, I just knew the first scene. All you had to do was get down the first scene, and then it added on.
That's true. I didn't even think about that, but that's exactly
what it is.
I thought of like a cool sequence. Yeah. It was an opening for a movie, and then it just, okay, where can I go from here? Where can I go from here?
A lot of us, like, we look at social media and we see a lot of people's accelerated success, but we can't compare our chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 20.
Yeah. Chapter
15. Or if you're like a child of a celebrity, you're already at your starting points at chapter 10.
Yeah.
People are going to want to see your stuff. So you can't compare your non-existent, in terms of like presence. Nobody really knows who you are. You can't compare that to somebody who's who already starts at,
or they've been at it for X amount of time. You just don't know.
You don't know.
Exactly.
You really don't know. Somebody could have been vlogging for 10 years before that one video took off, and all of a sudden you have.
But now that you know them, you're like, oh, look at that. How did that? But
overnight success.
Yeah. And you see it all the time. Yeah. And then, I do this a lot where if I see someone that just really blowing up, or I'm like, what's their old stuff like?
Yeah.
And then that's what motivates me. Yeah. That's what motivates me.
We go and we look, like, a lot of the hacks that we do is like, if there's a successful YouTube channel or somebody who's been very viral on TikTok, we just scroll all the way to the bottom to see what the beginning was like.
And it's like,
that'll motivate you. If anything, that'll motivate you. You see somebody who's doesn't have name or didn't start off with, like
the best
celebrity
equipment.
Or the best equipment, and you see them take off. You go back all the way down to like where they started, you'll realize like it wasn't all like I was looking at Destroying's stuff the other day. I don't know if you know who he is.
No.
Athlete YouTuber. His goal, I think, still is to be a kicker in the NFL.
Okay.
And he just started out by putting like highlight videos on his YouTube. It was like once a week. He put up a video like 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
Interesting.
Or you look at like Mr. Beast.
I mean,
his videos, you go back, they're like little put together videos in the beginning, like 2 minutes here, there, and then all of a sudden you just see him grow.
Just this huge,
and it's just, I think you put in time into something, it's gonna reap you some type of reward.
I agree.
If it's the right intention work, like you do it for a reason, you do it because you love it, you enjoy it, it'll come easy to you. It will be easier for you to like put together videos, to edit videos, to think of stuff. What might be next? Because you just gotta love the process.
It's easy because it really is. It's easy to just discourage yourself all the time. You can put out a video and then you get 10 views, and you can easily be like,
"I'm not gonna do another video.
It's not working out for me," And you just never know, man. It's like what you're saying. It's just that one video or that one whatever it may be, and it's hard. It's hard, but it's just you gotta start somewhere.
True.
That I try to tell people. Because it's true, like doubt kills dreams more than failure.
Yeah, doubt's killed more dreams than failure ever has or ever will.
Because
true failure is really just giving up, right?
Exactly.
It's like, like my podcast didn't work out, but why didn't it work out? I just stopped.
But if you had a bad experience and then fixed it, it's not failure. It's like, remember,
it was a lesson.
I learned this, and this is what. But if you stop, then that's
a failure. That's it. It just didn't work. You're done.
And I just really, that's something I always try to, and it's something that I've just kind of learned on my own of just, you just gotta keep going.
Going at it.
You just gotta keep going.
People in their 20s are so quick.
On.
Yeah, keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
But that's so true. Like people our age are so quick to just switch positions because what they've seen on social media. It's just easy for you to do something when that in reality that's not the case. Yeah, it's not going to be easy to master something, to become skillful at something. It's going to take time. It's going to take frustration, anxiety, a lot of people's doubts. A lot of people like fold because a lot of people are asking, yo, is this really even working for you? And I saw there was this little girl that interviewed Jay-Z. It went viral on Instagram. And she asked him, like, yo, what are your 3 tips to somebody who's young and wants to make it and be as big as you are? His 3 tips, believe it or not, first one was you have to believe in yourself. Second one was you have to have supreme confidence in yourself. And the third one was you have to believe in yourself. His 3 tips were all belief, which is 100% true. Because, like, you might start a podcast. You might have your mom or dad or sibling or best friend come up to you like, yo, like, it's not really working. Like, you know, like why podcasting? Are you sure that's for you? And you start letting those doubts creep in.
Yeah.
Rather than being like, no, you know what? I have a message to share with the world. And if I don't share that message, it's a disservice. And when you come from that perspective, that the whole game changes because you're not in it for, okay, the clout comes, it comes. But like what I'm doing is I'm genuinely doing this for myself because I believe it needs to be done. Which is I read a quote like for all the salespeople maybe watching this that was like, if you're selling a product and you know it can benefit somebody, it is your duty to sell it to the best of your ability. Then it's not really selling because you know it can help somebody. You know? Yeah. If it's beneficial to somebody, you not selling or not being the best salesman you can be to that person is a disservice to that person. And why would you want to be a disservice to that person? You know?
It's a great way of looking at it because, man, it's so common what you see. You know, it happens
way more often than not.
Yeah, to the best of us. Where
100%.
You know, you see people and
you don't think Jay-Z had doubts in his beginning or whatever the case may be? Of course he did.
Man, I know it happens to me all the time. I just kind of over that repetition. Just once you just keep going for a certain amount of time, it's like it kind of rewires your brain a little
100%.
Bit to just like stay the 100%. Course. And if you just remembering to always filter out, just whenever there's something creeping up on you, like no, because it's easy.
Sometimes you just gotta like the beauty of our mind is we can give the meaning what we want it to. I think we discussed this a little bit in the first one, but it's like if something comes up and it's a question that comes up, it's like am I even good enough to do this or am I interesting enough? And it's to like really be like no, that's BS. Of course I'm, you know, because everybody is interesting enough to somebody. Everybody is worthy enough to somebody. So you it may not be 1 million people immediately, but when you build up, you'll find that million will come.
Yeah,
that 100,000 will come. And I know what we're talking about is like big bodacious goals, but for some people it's not those big. Most people don't want to be big on social media or you know don't want to have the clout or the fame. They want a nice, decent family, food on the table. Financial freedom. I think everybody wants financial freedom. People say they don't want financial freedom. It's bullshit. Nobody wants to struggle to pay bills or you know to not know where the next paycheck is coming from or not know how they're going to pay for the car or the light bill. So I think like everything has a process.
Yeah.
And there's a science to achieving things. And you put in work, it'll eventually show up.
And just staying the course, finding that discipline. And that discipline starts with, you know, wake up, you know.
Having a good morning routine.
The morning routine, you know, are you doing the right things like for your body and for your mind to keep yourself in that state?
Yeah.
Because if you're eating bad and you're not working out.
It's very easy to fall into those negative states. Easy.
If your body's not feeling good, your mind is not going to feel good. No. But if you're shake up your body and make it feel good, then your mind's going to feel better, and then you start tackling things a little bit better.
Yeah, the quickest way to change your state is moving.
Literally
quickest
moving.
way.
Just dance. Start dancing. Doing something crazy.
Put on your favorite song. You're in a bad mood. Put on your favorite song.
I have this, it's not even a book. It's like a pamphlet. Tony Robbins recommended the 7-day mental diet.
Oh, okay.
I
haven't seen it.
You haven't heard of it? There's a clip of him talking about it. He recommended it. And it's literally this 7-day diet. And I've failed it multiple times. I have yet to like really do it. I haven't done it again.
Yeah.
Because I want to do it when I feel like, okay. And that's what it says in the book. It's like, do it when you like you gotta really try, because all it is for 7 days. You can't allow one negative thought to creep, like not creep your mind, but not let it affect you. So it's like, because it's always gonna come.
No, of course.
But it's not getting into like negative like gossip, or not letting a negative thought get to you,
mood of being negative,
or bring yourself down, or bring others down, like stuff like that for 7 days.
That's crazy.
So like if it hits you, like if it comes up, it's like, yes,
bullshit's wrong.
You could acknowledge, like you can recognize that it's there. And you have to literally just say nope and push it out. And it's so hard. Yeah. Like it's true. The pamphlet tells it, like it says it, like this is harder than any physical diet you can do, because you have to. It's gonna come at you.
Yeah.
And you literally have to say no.
Yeah.
Just for every hour of the day, like nope, and just choose something positive. Yeah. Nope, choose something positive. Somebody's gonna come up to you at work, and
something's gonna go wrong.
And you have to be like nope. Keep and for 7 days.
That is insane.
And the goal, and they say like by the end of those 7 days, if you do it, it's just it rewires your brain that
it has to.
After that process,
it has to.
It just kind of becomes easier. And I have yet to
go through it. But imagine 7 days. It seems like a small amount, but it's a long time, because during 7 days, anything can happen.
So many things.
Life can literally happen to you.
It recommends not doing it if you know something is coming up. That's good, because you don't want to put yourself. You want to
because you want to do it in a way where it rewires your brain the right way. You don't want to put it and then you're like it doesn't work.
And you keep failing and failing. And I've done it. I've tried maybe like 2 times.
Yeah.
Maybe 3. And after the second or third time, I was like, let me give it a second. Let me wait. Let me wait until I need to be in a better place. Get myself in the right footing. Yeah. Because it said like you can't just rush into it and be like, I'm gonna do it, and then because like what you gotta go
into it with the right intention.
Yeah.
Like it's the beauty of our mind is we can create the meaning that we give any situation.
Yeah.
It can be either why am I so bad at things, or it can be what can I learn from this. It's a matter of asking better questions.
Yeah.
Or speaking better to yourself, and I think that leads to. That's why I think. Focusing on gratitude at the beginning of the day when you wake up, it sets the tone for the day.
The whole day.
Because imagine if you wake up and you're already bombarded with, people requesting things from you or asking of your time.
And
you're spent.
Yeah.
And you don't know if that's in a good way or a bad way, because you let your mind kind of run things.
Yeah.
Rather than running your mind.
Yeah.
And we have the power of I'm not going to let my mind control me. I'm going to control what my mind is putting out, and that can be positive or negative, and it's not going to be easy. It's easier said than done. Like you said, things are going to happen, but it's a muscle that you exercise. You don't go to a gym for a day and you're fit for life. It's a process,
and it does. It gets easier. Like there's certain aspects of it I feel like I've been able to get better at, and it's just like from continuous just filtering out certain things. You know what I mean? And not letting, or even controlling your emotions, not letting certain things get to you, or how you handle certain situations. Yeah. Even just understanding people a little bit more
100%.
Goes a long way. 100%. You know what I mean?
Another point to that, you said filtering out. A lot of it's the people in your life. If you constantly have people that are downers, you bring up an idea or a goal or a dream and they laugh it off. Can't have those people around.
Yeah, because then
cannot.
Your brain is gonna, naturally you're gonna be like, oh, but maybe they're right. Like
if you joke about your dreams, because those people joke about your dreams, you give yourself the okay to do that. You'll never accomplish anything.
Yeah, what is that they say? Like your brain doesn't know the difference between a joke or whatever you say out there. It doesn't know the difference. It's
like, oh, why would I start the podcast? I'm not interesting enough.
Yeah, when you talk negative about yourself,
like, it's never gonna happen.
Like, I'm an idiot. Your brain doesn't know the difference. It's taking that. It's just.
It's another thing you just mentioned. I am is the most powerful. Whatever you add after I am, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I'm amazing. I'm entertaining.
And
it's literally.
Which side is more common? I get all the time that I'm tired.
That's why, when you're in a good place, mentally, you'll check those automatically. It's weird. Like when you've worked out, when you're in a great state of mind, something comes up, you're like, no, I'll handle it. Like I'm too tired. No, you know what? I'll figure out a way. Like it's weird. Like you automatically do that yourself.
Yeah.
When you're in a great place, but when you're in a negative place, that shit'll get you.
And
I'm sick. I'm not feeling too great. I'm exhausted, and then your energy will show up in whatever you have to do.
True. Yeah.
So you see people that are working, and then most common they'll be like, "I'm tired." Like you ask, "How's your day going?"
And
it's okay.
And the
I'm
whole
not
day
feeling
they're
great.
like,
And then you can get that vibe from that person. I try to do my best to like enlighten people whenever I interact with them, whatever they may be going through. And a lot of times it's you think like you don't come into a situation you're like, haha, be happy, this, that. No, somebody's going through, you let them talk.
Yeah.
You let them air out, because a lot of times people don't have people to listen to and get proper feedback or ask the right questions. A lot of times somebody will say something and the person will be like, yeah, it's just a shitty situation.
Yeah.
It's just like, instead of just being like, you know what? And most people, when they share their problems, they don't want you to fix their problem right then and there. They just want to be heard.
Yeah.
They want to know somebody's listening. So I think a lot of times you just give people a space to like air out. They'll automatically feel a lot better. They'll be like, you know what?
Sometimes
it's not that bad.
It's happened to people where just from someone listening to them, like they're talking about a situation or problem. Yeah. And when they vent it out,
they'll figure out the situation.
They're like, oh wait, yeah, like, and they kind of just figure it out amongst themselves. And
they don't have the space to do. A lot of people don't have the space to do it, and like they get so caught up with life that they don't have the opportunity to just let it out with somebody. Mm-hmm. So like when you give people a time to like, that's why it's so important to be present in places, because you never know who it might affect when you're dealing with people. And a lot of people just rush through things. Order coffee, where's my coffee, this, that, and the other, rather than just taking the time
they're
to
just so in their zone.
Doing? And you'll get the vibe from the person, whether the person's willing to talk or not. Somebody who's just, shut it down quickly, or they'll be willing to talk, and then you just go, you play it by ear.
Roll with it.
You don't have to be the practical psychologist for everybody,
Yeah. There's some people
that just, they have to go through that, and that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you have to protect your energy. You can't be the beacon of light to everybody, because some people are genuinely draining people,
and they'll try to
drain you as
down
well
with them. There's people that are, if they're not feeling good, or if they're down, they want everybody to know, like, hey, I'm feeling down. Yeah, and you're gonna be down. They'll be standing there like this and be like, and like just like, oof.
Or you ever meet the people that like, no matter what's going on, something great could be going on in their life, and they'll make it something bad.
They're like, oh, I'm kind of guilty.
I don't want to use this example because the person's going to know if they're listening. They're going to know who it is. But let's just say you got a good job, right? And you're like, oh, congrats on the job. And they're like, oh, but I got to work all these hours now. And like, bro.
Instead of like, oh, damn, I got promoted. I'm getting paid more. Or this
or you worked so hard to get it. Yeah. Like you worked through this process of, getting to that point.
I'm kind of guilty of that in some way, in the sense of,
I think we all are. But it just depends on levels.
Like when good things start happening, I get like, oh, this is weird. That happens to me. And I've talked to friends, and I'm telling them like, if there's good things that have been going on with me, work related or whatever. And I'm telling them like, like it was really weird. Like this happened. He's like, dude, it's not weird. Like that's good. Take it.
Put in the work for that.
Take it. Take it. And I get like, oh, that's isn't it like, I start getting all weird about it. Like, oh, wait.
But even on a simple level, like some people can't take compliments. They'll be quick to like compliment you back, You see it all the time. Like, oh, you look great. Oh, no, you look better. Like, this and that.
Me, so
just
please.
Just be like, thank you.
That's it.
I think one of the coolest things is like accepting a compliment. Like somebody says something, because it not only will feed your confidence, because somebody's complimenting you, obviously, but like for you to just be like, thank you, and owning it rather than laughing it off.
Like, oh, no,
this stupid thing, this dress, whatever. Like, if you just accept
such small little things,
it's all about how we talk to ourselves.
So crazy. And how often do we? Because like what you were saying, I'm tired, right? I'm this. How often do people speak about themselves in that way when they are feeling good?
Yeah.
When you're feeling like they don't. They're not like, damn, I feel good today, or
I feel creative. I'm a boss. I'm this, that,
never.
Or the other. Very rare.
They only call out when they're not feeling it. Yeah. Like, oh, I'm tired. I feel terrible today. But when they're actually feeling good, it's there, and they're like, oh, okay.
Now, what does that tell you? Like, if you wanted to really, if you were in a bad place and you really wanted to feel better, wouldn't you want to change the language that you're using? If you're feeling down, you're like, you know what? I am creative. And maybe repeat that a couple times, but actually feel it. Not like, I'm creative. You know, not like a routine chore thing, but like, I'm a creative person.
Or do something that filters that provokes that. You 100%. Know what I mean? And
100%.
The perfect example I could always give, the recent short film I showed you, before that, I was going through a slump where I was like, man, maybe I'm not
creative enough, this, that, enough.
How do these other people have such good ideas? I don't know.
Yeah.
And then writing it, and like as I was writing, I was like, this is kind of whatever. But then a story came out of it. I was like, oh, okay, this is pretty good.
Yeah.
And then I introduced it to my group.
Yeah.
And my group was like, oh, but what does this mean? But we butted heads a little bit. And that taught me how to, like, having that belief or having that, like, you got to stand your ground.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, but why?
Yeah.
It got a little
heated.
It got a little tough.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, like, oh, but how does that make sense? And I had to really explain the story. And I was like, and I had to really stand my ground.
Yeah.
And then it wasn't until, and of course, I always had that little, like, damn, like, maybe, like, does this story, like, a little bit. I was like, does this story make sense?
But that's with everything, right?
And I was like, fuck, I don't know. Like, this is, damn, maybe it's not going to work, whatever. And but I stuck with it anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, no, like, this is what, and I explained it to them. They're like, oh, okay. I mean, I guess, whatever. I kind of get it, whatever. Then when it came to filming happened. But then when I really got to be there,
right,
and I wasn't having those external thoughts,
I
was in the moment doing what I realized again at the time that brought that spark was I was doing what I enjoyed doing.
Yeah.
The actors and everybody's like, oh, dude, like, I love that idea.
Yeah.
When I was telling them this is what we're going to
go
for.
You were flowing from a different place.
And they're like, oh, I love that. Yeah. And one girl's like, oh, I got goosebumps thinking about it. And then we started working and flowing. I was like, this is amazing. Yeah. But of course, obviously, still, I'm like, I hope this works. I hope this works.
Yes, of course.
And then it's when you see the final product and everybody's like, oh, man. And then everybody's like, then it's like, you see, like.
It was worth it.
And then I just kind of remind myself of that feeling. Like, you see, like, you can do it.
Yeah. Your
ideas are good. Yeah. You're capable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And it's not forgetting that. Because I can
wake
wake up tomorrow and it's time again for another project. Yep. I'm like, I go through the same cycle. Yeah. It's remembering those things. When you wake up in the morning and you work out and you feel good, I always tell myself, like, damn, I feel fucking good.
Great, yeah.
I'm like, damn, like, I'm seeing results.
Yeah.
And I just, and I tell myself right there in the spot of anything, like that short film example or working out, like, remember how you feel right now so that when you're not feeling it next time again, you can remember, like, hey, you were able to do this.
Yep.
You felt like this. Yeah. You can get there again. Yeah. Because sometimes we forget when we feel good and we 100%. Only remember when we feel bad and then we just stuck with that and then we're always feeling bad.
Yeah.
And that's what I've learned to just tell myself. I'll literally be like, fuck, man, I look good. Like, whatever. And
you hype yourself up. And a lot of times we don't hype ourselves up. We shoot ourselves down quicker than we hype ourselves up.
So often. So often. And you can, and that's the thing. Like, you could have a good idea and just from you shooting yourself down, you know what I mean? Like, that short film is like, a biggest example for me. It's just crazy.
I know it may come off as like me always being like on a high, but like obviously I have those moments too. It's human nature, but it's not letting those moments get to you or overwhelm you or bring you completely down at a different level. It's reminding yourself that no matter what, on a surface level, you're put on this earth to do something.
Yeah.
And if you don't figure out what it is, and there's no pressure to that. If you don't try the things that you want to try, and there might be some things that don't work out, but they may lead you to things that may work out. So you just got to trust and believe that things are happening for you and not let yourself get caught in the rut of negative emotions because that'll never serve you. Like I was reading a quote or a meme the other day, a negative mind will never lead to a positive life.
True.
It just won't.
Why does this always happen to me? Oh, never fail.
Never fails.
Never this. And it's like, what do you think you're attracting at that point? More. I just saw a quote today.
It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Mm-hmm. Jordan Belfort. Yeah. I put it on my Instagram right now, like today. And it was him saying like the universal law is like if you only complain, if you talk about you're just attracting more. Yeah. So he's like, if you're just talking shit and like complaining about shit, you're just gonna attract more shit in your life. And he was literally saying it like that, as opposed to vice versa, where damn, like this is kind of working out for me. This looks good.
What goes to gratitude, right? Like if you're grateful for the things that have happened and are happening, you have more things to be grateful for. It's weird. Like the more you believe in the grace of your life, more grace is presented to you. And I think it's odd how it works that way, but I think it's also like there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason it is that way. You know?
it's so interesting. Like that example you said about the job, right? Like, you know, I got promoted or whatever, but it's like, damn, that's a lot of hours. Or
like, I congratulated this person, and they're like, oh, but it's like the workload. And I'm like, yo, bro, like, I'm sorry, you know? Like, I'm sorry you feel so bad about the thing you spent years trying to accomplish.
Yeah,
you finally got it. I'm congratulating you for the effort that you put in. Not from an ego place. I don't want you to say thank you for my sake, but like looking for yourself, like why your mind is thinking of it in such a low way.
Instead of like in this optimistic.
Instead of like, man, like, yeah, like I did it. Like it was worth the work. Like, thank God. Like I got
through it.
I'm
getting some extra money. Not everybody gets a position like this. There's people without a job. Oh my God, dude. Different things like that.
Especially in today's economy where
so unstable. You just don't know.
The fact that you have a job, that you're getting paid good money, that, you know, it's like, why would you complain about the hours? It's like, I have to do this. No, it's you get to do that. There's people, I don't know if we talked about this on the last podcast. I may have talked about this with somebody else, but a healthy person has a million dreams. A sick person only has one.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
If you remind yourself of that, like on a bare level, you could do nothing in life. On a bare level, if things are good, your family is good, people are healthy, you're good life. You have something to appreciate. Like baseline.
Minimum. Yeah, baseline. That's
baseline.
It's crazy.
Family is good, healthy. You're good, healthy. Nothing to complain about.
It's true.
Everything else is sent to build you up. Challenges, problems, things that arise. How can I grow from this? Because that's what it's there for. If you never had any conflict, if weightlifting was no resistance, we would all be skinny. Nobody would have any sort of type of muscle, nothing, you know? If there was no resistance, you need resistance in life.
Yeah.
You need it. So anytime there's a problem that presents itself, look at it from like, oh, we're the opponent. Like, I get to build myself up to challenge this situation, and I'll come out on the other side of it better. Or if I get knocked down, what can I learn from this situation? So that when the situation presents itself again, it's less painful.
It builds up your humility. You know what I mean? Because there's people that, like what you're saying, no resistance, no anything. So they're things, you know,
ego.
Things just kind of happen.
It's like fast success builds ego, slow success builds character.
Exactly. You know,
100%.
You can have people that don't have a lot of resistance and they're kind of getting things done, and people can be like, "Hey, like, good for you, that's awesome." And they're like, "Oh, dude, but like, of course, like, and it's just like this whole other level, like ego, where that's."
Where's more like what's next, or like,
and that's not a person you want to be around. You want someone that can be like, yeah, man, you know, it's going great. I you know, worked hard for it. Like, how are you doing? Or you know, a lot of people are just very, you know, egocentric, I guess. And I feel like that comes from
social media. Makes it more so.
Yeah,
even more so. Like, people get so self-centered and like it's so focused on them that they forget that the real life is like your connection with somebody else.
Yeah, you know,
it's not really about just you.
And I feel like that really does stem from, like what you're saying, like that resistance. You got to have some resistance. I mean, the most humble people I've been able to like meet or like work with is when I was doing like martial arts.
Yeah,
those people can literally beat you up.
Yeah,
if they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yet they're the most disciplined, nice,
kind,
like humble people. Yeah. I don't know. Like, they don't want trouble.
The saying from Jordan Peterson is, the most dangerous man is not the man who's the most, you know, the fighter, or like the person who's a warrior. Like, he's like the person who has the skills to kill is not the most dangerous man.
The nicest one.
The person who doesn't have that is a dangerous man.
Or like the other saying of like the loudest person in the room is the weakest person in the room. Yeah, it's another good one too. It's another thing.
Yeah,
and it's the same.
100%.
It's the same thing.
You see that play out in so many areas of life.
You can be anywhere. Yeah, and you can, you know.
Somebody's talking a lot.
We talked about this. Like, I like to, you know, like people watch or just kind of like observe. You know, even if it's at a party or whatever, you kind of just look around. You can kind of understand each person a little bit. And
it's almost like being a psychologist. And I think like from a film director lens, or somebody who directs films, loves films, you can read people a lot because you create characters.
Yeah,
you know,
it's inspiration.
Writing scripts and stuff. You see, so you can read how some person is, or you can relate it to a character in a movie, and you can understand kind of like the person's thought process, what they're really doing.
Yeah, or like if someone's like really funny, it's like, oh, this person, I like how funny you are, like your persona, and you want to like enhance that for like a character or something. Yeah, that's true. I didn't.
Or you always like you know the person who. Would you rather be around the person who is not funny but thinks they're funny and they like laugh all the time. You'd rather be around that person than the person who's a Debbie Downer, you know?
Yeah.
Person always down about things. You'd rather be with the person who thinks he's hilarious, laughs at his own jokes, because you end up laughing with him at like his jokes. His jokes aren't even funny, but he's laughing. He's having a good time.
That's true.
So
it's things like that, you know, and with people like that, it's true. Like the nicest people are probably like the deadliest, right? Like, you know what I mean? Or
because it's almost fake in a way.
But those people have been through enough resistance. Like when you're doing jiu-jitsu or any kind of martial arts, like you're getting your ass beat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Humility is building up in you.
I've been flipped. Like I've done jiu-jitsu and I was going against this. He was a higher belt than me. I can't remember what belt it was. And he grabbed my foot and I looked at him and he flipped. I did a backflip and landed right on the mat. And the whole class was there. Yeah. Everybody was, you know, like the whole scenario.
You just see it happen
And
no, it's right. And the person who just doesn't have those skills is just nice for no reason. That's what I was saying. Like it's just you could.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not real.
Yeah.
And that person you probably have to be more worrisome about because they probably have some ulterior motive for why they're being kind or why sometimes. Yeah. But then you have these people who have like the people with the ego. I'm saying like they'll try to find a quick way to satisfy their ego versus somebody who has character and understands humility and
I guess that's
humble.
What it is, just character. Yeah. It's just when you go through things as hard or however it may be, but it builds character.
It does.
And I feel like we can both relate to that. Like when you go through, as you go through things, you know, we're both in our 20s. It's still early in life, but like when you go through things, you know, like it changes how you perceive people or just situations in general. You know what I mean?
I think like in my basketball career, like early on, I was rejected so much that like rejection, it almost like I built an immunity to it in a way. It obviously still stings. Rejection at any time stings, but there's a level of like when you've gone through it so many times for various different reasons, you know, not being tall enough, skinny enough, or like strong enough. Like it builds your character, and so you're not fazed by it as much. So like I think the biggest issue with a lot of people growing up is like they haven't faced enough rejection. They haven't faced enough like no.
You need to go through that.
They're getting a participation trophy for losing. They've been given anything that they want with no real reason to work for it.
So when you do hit that resistance, you're like, but what?
This is so weird, strange.
Yeah. Sometimes you have to just kind of just.
Yeah. They say smooth seas never built skilled sailors. You know,
it's true.
It's the way you got to look at it.
God, that's so true, man. Especially because it's entitlement, ego. Those are different things that it's almost.
I also think
all connects.
I also think like success becomes more fulfilling when you've gone through things. Yeah. Like if you've been rejected, you've been shot down, you've been knocked down. When you finally get that W, and realize in life you only have to be really right one time. One time you got to be right, and that's it. One movie, one podcast that takes
video,
off. One video, one anything. You just got to be right once. One business idea, one promotion, something can set you up. Your next generation's people to come for life.
And to think that when people do have an idea or something, they're kind of like they let themselves talk. They talk themselves out of it, and it's like
the richest place is a graveyard. How many scientists, astronauts, businessmen that just never made it happen?
You can try. If it fails, it fails. Yeah. If you're like, you know what, maybe, but you're always gonna learn, or it's gonna take you into something else, a different lane, a different avenue.
Yeah. I forget who was talking about. I think it was Jay Shetty. He was like, somebody did not want to do the coursework because 4 years down the line they'd be 32, and if it didn't work out, they'd be 32. But if you didn't do the coursework, you're still gonna be 4 years later 32.
Yeah.
And, like, that time is still going to pass.
With no gain or knowledge.
Yeah. You're going to be 32 regardless, and you're not going to have done the thing that you might have wanted to do. It's like, I want to go to acting school, but I'll be 32 when I'm, 4 years down the line. Like, and I might still not make it. And, like, is it... like?
But what if... or it's like... Yeah, exactly. Like, one path, it's like you don't do anything.
Yeah.
And you're still 32. Or you go down that path, you can make it. Yeah. Or maybe if you don't make it, but what if you, like... You're doing it and you're like, man, I like this. Yeah. Maybe you like teaching it. Or maybe you like, that sense of like,
just being
teaching
around
people or being around it, and you're like, oh, but maybe I can lean towards it, and then that's
some other avenue
opens another avenue,
or maybe you meet somebody who can immediately expedite the process. You know, you never know, but if you don't give it a chance, you're never gonna find out.
So
there was something that I don't know if you know Neville Ravnikant or something like that. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast. There's a video that was circling. I saw it yesterday, and he said most people will go up a mountain, get to like 2/3 of the way up, see the height of the mountain, but to get to the height of the mountain, they'll have to come back down, start over, go up a different path. And that's like, it was an analogy for life, how some of the best creatives have the ability to drop everything, start over, find that mountaintop. Whereas a lot of people will be like, no, I'm not going to do that.
I'm not doing this again.
I'm not going back to bottom, like starting from ground zero. When ground zero will take you to way higher than you've ever been.
Yeah, that's the one.
So I think that applies a lot in life today. It'll always apply in life, I think, even in the future, when people they won't want to start over. It's like the salary is the biggest bribe the economy gives you to not follow what you want to do. It's like, yeah, but I got benefits. Okay. What about the benefits you might get if you actually achieve what you want to achieve?
It's like far
people
greater.
go to be a doctor. It's a 10-year process for security, money, job security, you know, being able to provide. What if you gave 10 years of your time to wanting to be an artist? What would that entail?
Yeah, what would that entail? There's people that don't want to be a doctor, but they do it because it's like, oh, but look,
job security and money and
if you want to be a doctor, then go for it.
Oh no, 100%
for sure. But
I'm saying like they're willing to sacrifice majority of their 20s,
go through med school that they don't want to do,
residency, all these, the whole process. I think I don't know what it is. It's like 10 years or something. You become an actual doctor, unless you expedite it at like 30, 32. Spending all that time studying, long hours, brutal tests, because these people are going to be the people that operate on you, work on you.
And if it's not something that you actually want to do, it just makes it so much worse. Harder. Yeah.
So imagine if you did those 10 years to being an artist, where you knew, like, first 5 years, nothing may happen. No. The whole 10 years, nothing may happen. But at least you gave it a shot, and you're better off for it because the work never goes in vain.
Yeah.
You're never going to fall back to zero. You can put in those 10 years, nothing happens. You've learned something. You've connected with people. You've interacted with, opportunities that they'll create something else. Mm-hmm. Where at the 10-year mark, you might be like, I don't want to be an actor anymore. But you gave it your all.
Yeah, you tried.
You can live knowing that you give it your all, rather than when you turn 80 being like, when I was younger and I had this affinity for painting, I never gave it a shot.
And it's just that thought of what if I did give it a shot? Because life, man, I'll tell you, 80 is not promised. Yeah.
10 years is not promised. You could go through med school and God forbid something happens. You don't even make it through med school. You've never really done anything, in your career field.
And that's the first thing you're going to think of. You're going to think of what you could have done with certain things.
Yeah.
And there's two examples. One, John Krasinski, Jim in The Office. Yep. He was in New York and he was trying to be an actor. He was there in New York for a couple years.
I remember this story.
Yeah, and his mom was like, "Yeah, just go. Just tell me.
Go be an actor, but like if it doesn't happen in this
amount
of time,
just after like 3 years, I won't
have the heart to tell you to not follow your dream.
I can't pull you out from that. You would have to do it yourself. Yeah. Just promise me that. Like I didn't want to be the one to have to do that.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah. And I think it was like at the 3-year mark, Mom,
nothing's working out.
He's like, nothing's working out, whatever. And it was like around.
It was the holidays.
Late holiday time.
Set of holidays.
And she was like, just write out the year and then we'll see after. And then that's when he got casted as Jim in The Office.
Crazy. Gives me goosebumps right now.
How crazy is that?
It's insane.
You know what I mean?
It's like what the cliche saying of like, when you're just about to quit, the miracle or something's about to happen.
Just go a little bit more.
A little bit more.
And because he could have been like, man, this is not working out.
Wouldn't have had Jim.
But how good is the mom, the parent for that? For being like, okay, supportive. Go do this but you need to be the one to understand it. I'm not going to force you out of something. Yeah. That's a really
great.
Yeah. Great because, mom. I mean, you like what you were saying, you can't do this. That's not feasible. That's not realistic. Yeah. You got to, be this way. Yeah. Why don't you do this instead?
Yeah. Or imagine like, bro, like, I mean, I can't even imagine for mom to be like, you know what, go and pursue that dream. when there's no name or anything, like there's no connection to the industry. There's nothing.
Just like go.
You're like, go figure it out. Like, because it's so easy for parents to just be like, you know what? We know this.
Mm-hmm.
The 9 to 5, or, be an engineer.
Why don't you do doctor. This? This is a little bit more realistic.
We know this. Yeah. We understand this. This makes sense. But to be like, go and do it. Figure it out. And I think today's day and age, it's never been a better time to do whatever you want to do.
So open. So open right
It's an
now.
open market.
Yeah.
It's an open market.
It's crazy, man.
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah. With that success story of John Krasinski.
Yeah. That was beautiful.
Yeah, man.
That's beautiful. And to know that that success story can be you as well. In whatever level, whatever form.
When he was just going to come back, but it's all, like we're having a good support system too, because the mom did say, stay a little longer. Yeah. Just finish out the year.
Finish out the year, yeah. Just to be like,
just when he was going to be like, forget
I'm done.
Because let's say that mom was like, no, you shouldn't do it. And he had to go through that resistance. And then he's like, it's not working out. She's like, you see? I told you so. Yeah. Just come back home. We'll talk. We'll do this. Boom.
But that's where, like, I guess the final point of this podcast would be like, just believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it takes that over the people closest to you.
You're
may not
always
understand.
Have that, yeah.
It's not that they don't care. They don't, want you to do. They just don't understand.
They don't understand.
They know they want what's best from you from their level of understanding. Mm-hmm. So understanding that, you can navigate your situation a lot better, knowing that they want what's best for you. It may not seem that way, but that's like genuinely what they want. But you have to also be strong enough to be like, I know that this is what I want. That this is what I'm going to be great at. Mm-hmm. And to invest in that. So yeah, believe in yourself. Supreme confidence in self.
Wake up in the morning.
Wake up in the morning. Wake up in the morning. Get good sleep.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Podcast. Thank you for listening.
Appreciate you all.
This is episode 2. We got a flow going, man. We go on.
We do go on.
I'm noticing, so it's awesome.
We have a week to finish it though before the next episode.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Appreciate you all so much.
Hopefully you enjoyed it, and let's see. We'll keep going.
Follow us on the gram. Send us an email with any questions you may have. We'll do a Q&A eventually.
Yes, live Q&A.
Nice.
You never know.
That'd be nice.
You never know.
We could do that.
Live stream? Yeah, 100%. We could definitely do a live stream right here. Look, right here. Start streaming. That's it. I can put it live on the YouTube or whatever. Dope. All right, guys. Till the next one.
Appreciate you all.
Goodbye.